right, back for the Big Roost podcast, and we got Brad Akers back on the podcast with us today. How you doing, Brad?
Oh, I'm amazing. Happy to be here.
Nice, good. Well, it's good to have you back. The last time you were on, we spent a lot of time going through your background and your experience and what brought you to wanting to work with roofing contractors. Mm-hmm. Why don't you just kind of give a brief summary for anyone that hasn't watched that first one, just brief summary of your background.
Sure.
To get started.
Really, really quick bullet points. Worked for SRS as a salesperson, sold a lot of residential. Started a marketing company at the same time of partnering in a roofing company with one of my clients. Marketing company grew a lot. The roofing company did well, but I only had 50% of that. Had 100% of the marketing company, and I really didn't know how to do both at the time because I was just learning how to be my own boss and be an entrepreneur. So I focused fully on the marketing company. I've had the chance and the opportunity to buy a marketing company. I merged it with my own. I merged my marketing company, and then I have sold it. And then my wife and I have bought and sold a couple franchises as well. Right now, my sole focus is helping contractors get built right. So what that really means in my head is I want them to have organized processes to grow and around their client acquisition that they run and that they own, not becoming some marketing expert necessarily, but what are the actions and activities that they can do on a daily basis to grow, and how can we make sure that that's all put together in a way that's easy to delegate and a great platform for them.
Sweet. It's awesome. Good rundown. I've obviously been one of your clients as a roofing contractor. Super, super helpful. Let's talk about what has changed. I was looking at the notes of our messages for between the three of us, and it has been almost exactly 1 year since we've had you on. So what has changed in that time for you and your business?
So one of the biggest changes really happened right around January of this year. And honestly, it was clarity on our end of exactly the best ways to help people past just the neighborhood marketing and referral systems, which is the main starting point with our clients. Previously, we had a 90-day program and then a 116-week program and just different defined end programs, course and training kind of consulting engagements. And at the end of the day, we kind of I don't want to be self-critical, but what we realized was people were getting the basics, getting things in place, but they just needed more support after. So in some cases, we just gave them the support. Even so, we didn't really have an organized cutoff, which I'm grateful for those people, and I'm not mad about that, but it was difficult just from a time perspective. And then after that, we just were and then we'll throw a monthly price on at the end just for as long as they want to stay. And that just created more confusion than anything. So honestly, the last 2 quarters of 2024 were a lot of learning and kind of tweaking and iterating. In January, we really got clear on the best ways to package how we're serving our clients, because we have case studies, we have testimonials. We don't have any trouble getting people results, but there's a lot more that we offer and do for our clients than just here's the playbook. And we didn't necessarily have clarity on how to package that. Now we have a initial upfront fee where we're kind of just working with them to get the neighborhood marketing, the referral processes, everything kind of set up, give them access to all of our stuff and resources and templates, and then dial in a plan. And we really focus on what we call the built right path, which is help you build leverage around turning one job into multiple. Next, the focus is purely on lead gen. So how can we just give you clarity on the different ways and strategies that you can go generate new leads and get into new areas when you need to. the third is let's make sure we have really tight and clear processes and documentation around all of that so that we can delegate it. And then we work with you on hiring or training your core team. And then that's when we focus on scaling and we really transition more into like a fractional CMO at that point for our clients. And it's been so awesome. 2025 has been just already just incredibly fulfilling because we've been able to watch our clients really, really thrive and take off with some of these strategies. And we've been able to support them around things that they didn't necessarily know they needed to support on upfront. And I always say, hey, I don't need you to picture what it looks like to work with me in 12 months because you don't know. And I don't know either. Your business is going to look very different. But what I do want is an interest and a commitment to grow. Like I want you to see the vision of growing through generating like really, really strong community neighborhood marketing, really strong referral processes. Once we are clear on that, and once, yes, that's something I want to do, let us earn it over and over again. And we've just been, we've been so lucky with some amazing clients and really figured out like who I think we end up working with best and getting a little tighter on our marketing and messaging there. And it's been awesome. So
love it.
Does that answer? I know that was long-winded.
Yeah, it's great. No. So if I'm a roofing contractor watching or listening to this, who is your ideal customer right now? Maybe narrow, broad. I don't know what it is. I've spoken with several of them on our Friday calls, but in your mind, who do you love working with? Who, as a roofing, as a consultant, what do you who do you want to work with?
So I love working with people who have the business expertise but don't necessarily have like much established within their market. That's who we've really like been focused on. So like an example is one of our clients that's doing very well had a general contracting kind of just not a handyman business, but like, we do some siding, we do some kitchens, we do this, and then wanted to go more focused in on just roofing. So he started a roofing specific company and we're working with him. Another guy is, he's been around for a while and he's been around 2 or 3 million a year and he just wants to focus, like he just wants to get like a little more dialed in, and he knows, and the reason I've been able to grow and build a little bit of a team is because we've just had a good reputation. And then we have a couple people that are in the $5 to $10 million range that come to us and are much more focused on like empowering their team. The way I really look at it is the people that I believe that we can help the most are people who are very, very focused on giving the best customer experience and are what we would internally call referral worthy. And then we want to just extend that referral worthiness and make sure that they're able to capitalize on it. So if someone's main priority and main focus is being a cut above the rest and making sure that they're giving their homeowners that they work with just a phenomenal experience, we come in and make sure that we're extending that experience to the right people and make sure that the right people are talking about it in the right places. And then we work with you on making sure it's ingrained properly into your team and culture and your why around how you're actually building all this stuff. So there's some examples, and then more of a broad answer is you're referral worthy. Let's rock and roll. Let's figure it out.
What would you say? I mean, the referral worthy is good. That makes a lot of sense. But can we look at that from a different angle? What is your core philosophy when you're working with contractors? Like, what is your underlying thing that you're trying to accomplish or help them to accomplish? And so, like, how do you think about that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. The big thing that I want them to get used to is to not be reliant on a ton of outside factors. So I don't want them to be reliant on Google ads. I don't want them to be reliant on an SEO company. I don't want them to be reliant on Facebook ads. I want them to be really, really clear on the inputs that are required to grow their business. So the adjectives that I would describe being built right by is you are in control, which means you know and understand the inputs and the variables and the ways that you can create most consistency. You're self-sufficient. So these strategies and your main core growth is a result of processes in your team, not a result of a marketing agency or a platform even. The third is that would make you predictable, so you're able to have a little bit more consistency around that. The fourth is you have an actual foundation around how you're growing. And then the fifth is you're scalable. And they all kind of work off of each other. And one kind of leads to the next. And that's the thing that I want to help with is like, we all know referrals are fantastic, but a lot of us don't put the right amount of focus and energy into generating them so that they just become something that's nice when it happens. I want to look at what are all the things that are required to get more referrals. What are the things that a customer needs to do to get you in front of the right people? And let's build processes and try to make sure the right things are being incentivized and we understand those. On the neighborhood marketing, we all know it's awesome when we get a few yard signs on the same street, but oftentimes it's only accomplished, or maybe the only like infrastructure, if you even want to call it around that, is some old school dude being like, yeah, we always knock the 6-pack or knock the 12-pack. And at the end of the day, that's one of 50 different things you can do. And I want to make sure that they know and understand all the different ways to kind of tie in the messaging and also how to show up. Like, one of my favorite things John Delorier ever said was on a call, he was like, yeah, it's funny. Sometimes I let them know why I'm here, and I kind of like tell them there's some issues with the roofs. And before they even like hardly get a chance to respond, I just start walking away. And then they just are like, wait, can you check my roof out too? And that is something honestly that stuck with me a lot, because it's true. Like, whoever needs it less is usually the one who's going to do better in a negotiation. And not that these are negotiations yet, but how do we show up? How do we have the conversations with the neighbors? How is that different than when we're knocking doors or when we're running an appointment for the first time? What are we trying to accomplish with each interaction? And I think that's like the depth that we bring, that people sometimes think they can reverse engineer what our trainings and stuff are. And I welcome them to try, because they're just going to hit walls over and over again, because at the end of the day, the intent is probably one of the most important things, like how you're actually structuring the interactions that some of these marketing efforts create. And then how do we turn that into goodwill rather than someone feeling like they're being sold?
Yep.
Yeah. Question. So, I've had a lot of discussions recently about referral rewards or referral fees, like paying customers for referrals. In this context, I mean, you're the expert here when it comes to referrals. So what is your thoughts on that? Like, does it make sense? Like, what is the best way to structure it?
So I personally think that most people give referrals not because of the amount of money that they might get by getting a referral, but that they just like to give referrals because it's the nice thing to do. Like, I think, oh, well, John did a good job for me, so I want to be that person that can connect them. But I do think that having a formal referral program helps kind of show people, hey, this isn't just something I just want you to do in passing or casually. Like, I want to get you to take intentional and proactive measures to generate me referrals. And that's part of where I think the compensation comes into play. And then when you're compensating, I do think you compensate them for a sale, or you can compensate them for an appointment. And I could harp on that. Like, I think people like the immediate gratification of like the $25 per appointment. like as just a nice little, okay, hey, if I send you a referral and they schedule an appointment, I'm getting $25. Like it's easy. It's like just a lower, it's quick. But the bigger thing is incentivizing the right things. So I like to gate referral programs by saying, in order to become a referral partner, you need to post about us in a neighborhood Facebook group, like what your experience was, or you need to tag our business page, or you need to post about us in Nextdoor, or you need to do that. Because they're honestly like usually open to some type of transaction around that, as long as we can help walk them through exactly how to do it and also empathize with them throughout it. Like, for instance, they don't post in neighborhood groups very often, probably, unless you just get that rare person. So they don't know what to say. They're anxious about saying the wrong thing. They don't want to mess it up. It's a big deal to them, even if it's not a big deal to you. And we want to like try to get ahead of that and show them like, hey, it's easy. Like, let's just do this. I'll write it up for you. Like, you just plug in like what you would leave as a review in this section so that like it's actually your words and not mine. Like, try to anticipate what people are going to get hung up on when you're asking them to do what we call in referral generating activities for you. But they don't know a bunch of people who need a new roof, because if they did, they'd probably be a multiple 7-figure roofing salesperson themselves. There's a lot of money in it. But that's just not how people think or operate. Roofing's not a common conversation for people outside of the roofing industry usually.
Yep. There's two things. Question? Yeah, well, there's just two things. There's two things I think about is confidence and it's clarity that you give with your training. So going back, you've mentioned this before, and I've mentioned this on several podcasts actually, is the customer acquisition cost, the true acquisition cost, because you were an agency owner, a marketing agency owner. You understand from the other side of the desk of the numbers because you broke it down, and it's much higher than people think. So
yeah, it's crazy.
Understanding that and being very clear on your acquisition costs is super, super important for any size roofing business. Then the confidence of understanding, okay, this is what it is. What's the game plan? You just lay it out so clearly for companies to implement what you're talking about with postcards, door hangers, yard signs. You're doing that. And then, of course, you just talked about the referral part. You're removing those mental hurdles. And so there's a framework of how, like, okay, implement this. And then, as you say, you walk along with these companies to help them grow. It's super, super important because you just said that we just don't talk about this unless you're in the space already, and you can't really talk to your competition, and you don't really know how to do this and how to control. It's another C word, how to control your acquisition costs by doing the things that you're teaching. It's really, really important for people to understand this because it's just changing so much. We have to control our costs as company owners. If we don't, it's going to be really, really tough moving forward.
I try not to just like be like, oh, agencies are bad, because I don't even think that. People assume that I don't like agencies. And it's like, no, I don't think you should become a Google Ads expert. I think that's a waste of time. It's
clarity. It's clarity.
Yeah.
It's okay if you have a certain acquisition cost. I'm not saying I agree with you. It's not necessarily good or bad. It just depends on your goals. But you give clarity around that specific thing, and then other parts of the business as well that I haven't seen anyone else do yet. That's really breaking it down so that people can understand why they're making money or why they're not making money on each roof.
And I think and I'm not trying to just pat myself on the back, because I think there's some fantastic consultants and agency owners and coaches and all of that. Like, I think there's so many awesome resources, and a lot of the time there's a lot of like bad talked about, like not specific ones, but just about these industries as a whole. But like, I would not be where I am without coaches and business mentors and consultants that I've worked with. So, and I think a lot of successful people would say that. I'm not saying I'm successful. Some days I feel like that. But generally, I've just worn a lot of hats at in the roofing world. Like distribution gives me that's probably my biggest secret weapon in regards to understanding the ins and outs of roofing companies, because I don't know, you can check me on this, but like if you have a relationship with your supplier and like your salesperson, like you probably share a lot with them. And also they know when you can pay your bills on time and when you can't. And they know the custom plans that you don't want anyone to know about on how you're getting caught up and out of the 31 to 60. Like they know that. So like you get a lot of details on how they're growing and you understand their cash flow from a different perspective. The market, I owned a roofing company. So I've been in the field and I've lived a lot of the bad days that you guys live, because there's a lot. And I've lived some good days too, but also I've realized like, geez, it is difficult to run one of these, because until you have the right team, like you really like have to just create time out of nowhere, because you don't have any really. And then when you do, you're just tired, or you don't know what you should be doing with your time. Distribution, I've owned a roofing company, and then I've like on the marketing side, I've approached that with understanding their businesses. Like I understood their numbers. I understood how easy it was to get backwards. And like I still had customers that I neglected my knowledge and just was like, yeah, just do Google ads and all that. And I'm not proud of that. It wasn't intentional. It just was me not necessarily knowing what I could do. And I was just an order taker for a bit. Like, okay, you need Google ads here. And after a while and going through enough cycles of like a client stays, they get some good results, then it fizzles out, and then they leave, and then they go to someone else. And then I've did that with someone like, and after watching that, I just like got really fixated on solving some of the issues that came up over and over again. And then when I got really deep into it, I realized like, geez, I don't even want to distract them with running Google ads for them or Facebook ads or building their website or doing their SEO, because that will just take away from how freaking important this other stuff is. And that's why I think that I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not some Excel wizard or anything like that. I majored in leadership in college, which was the easiest major ever. Not just because I'm naturally inclined for it, just because it was a joke of a major. No offense to anyone who's listening to that, who's maybe a leadership major, shout out. But I don't have like technical knowledge or understanding of like finances and stuff like this. I just have had to learn kind of on my own. And because of that, I've had to simplify it and go to like first principles for me to understand it. And then I've recognized like if I overcomplicate this when I'm teaching it, then it's going to get missed just because I would have missed it if I was on the other side. And it took me making it simple for me to understand it. So I think that's part of like, it's almost like, I don't even know if I could get that complicated with it if I wanted to. So I think that's an advantage to me and to our clients, luckily.
Yeah. If you had to based on your experience working with so many contractors, if you had to just recommend one thing today, like one thing that they should just go out, if they haven't done it already, just do it right now after listening to this, what would it be?
So it's hard to just come up with one thing. But I would say the main answer would be, I'm going to cheat, but I'm sorry. Make a list of all the different things you could do that at an inspection or at a build that would potentially upset or bother the neighbors. Think of all the different ways that they could be affected by your presence. Now that you've come up with that list and you've thought of all the different ways that you being there could just be a nuisance to them, try to think on the flip side of the coin of how you can show them how you can, one, avoid being a nuisance, or two, show them that the inevitable things that are going to be a nuisance that you are interested in proactively solving that problem for them, and that is your priority. And once you have those things in mind, just figure out how to go talk to them. Figure out how to have a conversation with them that isn't a sales conversation or isn't a let me inspect your roof too conversation, but instead is a I'm here and I care about the person that called me here, but I also care about you and your experience, and I just want to make sure it's as good as I can make it within reason, and like just know that we're here to help. If you approach things through that lens, there's 10 different ways. There's 20 different things you can do at an inspection to get in front of people. Good flying a drone. Hey, I wanted you to know there's a drone in the air. I don't want you to like hear it buzzing if you're like on your back porch drinking coffee thinking the FBI is spying on you. If you are during a build, like, hey, am I parked okay? Like, I know you're not used to all these cars on the street. Or maybe you find if you have a chance to talk to them, hey, I just want to let you know, like the delivery truck is probably going to be scheduled for the evening before the build. It definitely like they try to stay out of the way, but like a lot of the time they're going to block your street. I just want to give you a heads up so you know, so it's not like some surprise. Those types of things and those types of interactions are going to allow you to establish the know, like, and trust factor that's required for someone to do business with you, essentially, unless you're just purely price-based. Because that's the only reason they will forego the know, like, and trust is so that they can get what they perceive as a better deal. But if you can establish as much of the know, like, and trust factor before you've even entered into a sales conversation with the neighbors, then you are truly one of one. There's no one else that has been able to do that, because there's no one else that would have been able to interact with them in the context that you interacted with them. So because of that, it's one of the biggest opportunities you have. And that, whether they want you to inspect the roof and you're their guy immediately, or whether it's 2 years from now, it's still worth it. Because if you build relationships at scale and you use every inspection and every build as a chance to build relationships with people who could be your, in the near future or in the extended future, customers, and you become the guy that they think about, then that's really good. The other little back part of that is give them easy ways to remember you. Like, give them marketing material to put on their fridge or something. Like, don't just assume that I forget someone's name. I'm sorry. Oftentimes within 30 seconds of them telling me their name, I do not remember the name of the pest control company that comes out to my house once every couple months. Like, I don't know. I mean, I could probably think hard and be like, oh, I think it's Eco something. But like, I don't know. So make it really easy for them to think, okay, we need a roofer. Who was the one who roofed Joe's house? Oh, we have something on the fridge from them, I think. Or, hey, we got a postcard from them that one time, or whatever. And
it's like, the red and black one with the triangle roof on the front. That's exactly the one that, be different in lots of ways. I love that, though, because it's empathy. If you think about, as a business owner, your why. Why are you doing this? Other than making money and making a good living for your family. If you think about your why, and you really do not want to worry about lead flow, I can't get more leads. I love the way you phrase that. My thought pattern was also, even neighbors who don't like each other, make them like you. So because guess what? If your client, your customer, is not getting complaints from their adjacent neighbors because stuff flew in their yard, they're going to be way more likely to write you the review at the end of the day. And you made a positive impression on all of their neighbors as well.
Exactly. It's really free. Killing a lot of birds with one stone. Yeah. And at the end of the day, like, this is a little, not a secret, but like something to know. I live in a newer subdivision, like a newer development. There's construction going on all the time. It's background noise to me. I don't even notice. I do probably notice the nail guns just because it's like our it's like
money.
our
It's the money sound.
Like we're like, oh, what is that? But in general, it's all kind of just like background noise. So like they might be inconvenienced without even consciously being mad at you or being mad at the neighbor or anything like that. They might notice things like the nails and just be like, whatever, and it barely matters to them, and they just like brush it to the side. So you actually want to show them, hey, I want to get attention from you by making sure that some of these things, like I want to get in front of you. I want to put myself out there so you know that you could blame me for this, but I'm just going to make sure it doesn't happen. So like it is complicated because like it's one day. Your crew might show up at 7, they might leave at 7:30, and then the job might be done by 4 p.m. that day, and they get back at 5, and there wasn't a whole lot of attention. So we do have to manufacture and really exaggerate a little bit the attention that is given to the fact that you're there and your presence. But as you're doing that, you want to do it in not a salesy way, but in a way to where you're displaying your values and displaying like the type of company that you are, the type of person that you are for them by just showing how much you care.
Yep.
And that's why I like the referral worthy like moniker, I guess, because it's a really easy kind of gut check. Like money's a bad motivator. I say that all the time because if it wasn't, then we'd just knock doors all the time. Like we'd hire an army of salespeople. Every one of them would be interested in hitting, like they'd all do exactly what they're supposed to do. Like it would all be great, but it's so much more complicated than that, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I guess, depending on how you really want to look at it. I would say, unfortunately, I wish money was a better motivator. It would make things easier. But because that's not, we have to think of what is a real motivator. I would say like status, identity, those are real motivators. So if we can establish and tie in an identity to the actions and the activities, and then make sure that those interactions are like that, you can get anyone to do it. Like, honestly, instead of, oh, I'm not a salesperson, that the project manager's like, oh, I really don't feel comfortable knocking doors or selling. Hey, you're not selling. And you're really not knocking doors like to sell, which is how you mean. You're just introducing yourself to the neighbors and making sure they have a point of contact in case anything happens. So that all of a sudden flips it. And also that is probably more meaningful to the homeowners than you having a project manager who sucks at selling try to sell. Like it's better for the business. It's better for you. It's better for the client. All these benefits, but people neglect a lot of the obvious stuff. And it's obvious to me, and it's obvious once you see it and do it. It might not be so obvious like on the outside, which is why we have the curriculum and the trainings and the course and the consulting and all of that. But at the end of the day, people think that going the Google ads or the Facebook ads or the SEO or the hiring 20 salespeople route is easier, and it just isn't. Like it's a trick. It's like discipline creates freedom. And honestly, like you can avoid that truth, but the longer you avoid it, the more hard things are going to be. Like, John, you work out a lot. I don't. I wish I did. You work out a lot. So that gives you more leeway to eat a donut when you want a donut than I have. I still eat a donut.
6 on Saturday. I had six Krispy Kremes on Saturday.
Exactly. There we go. Perfect. Okay. But like that's an example. It's like, okay, so in that case, that's a working out example and a health example of discipline creating freedom. You wake up at 5 a.m. so that you can spend a couple hours starting your day how you want. Like starting your day how you want will make you show up better in your meetings. Showing up better in your meetings will maybe get you more sales or help you keep your clients for longer or whatever it is. And then you get to reap the benefits. And that all gives you a version of freedom or a version of what you want. But we don't have to overcomplicate or like, it doesn't have to be discipline around, okay, I'm just going to knock 100 doors a day. It's like, let's get a little more sophisticated than that. And let's also like respect our own time as much as we can. Like we want to, one, spend time doing what we want to do. And two, we want to make sure that we are able to get the most out of our time as possible. And that's part of why step one of our, like the process and path that we kind of bring people on is create leverage. I want them to be very clear that right now there's probably more sales just sitting in their pipeline that they didn't know about, that they've been neglecting, frankly. And I want to show them how to make sure that doesn't happen anymore. Similar to ProLine, honestly. Like if you're not following up with your proposals well, or you're relying on your own memory to do it and not like an automated process, then you're probably leaving a lot to chance, to how you feel that day, to how that. But if you have the automations and you all of a sudden have the ability to have more volume because you don't have to burn all the calories in your mind to remember who to follow up with when. So having all that gives you freedom and gives you the ability to give more proposals. And once you give more proposals and you're following up with more people, you're all of a sudden going to start getting people responding to a proposal request that you almost forgot about. And that's awesome. And hopefully that can become the norm. But we have to create the initial action to create that too, which is why the second thing is leads. Like, okay, great. We have the idea. We have the we have the process set up. Now we need throughput.
Yeah, love it. Well, we align so much, Brad. I mean, AJ and I have talked about you, and I know we've had tons of conversations over the past year or more than a year, that you've been just a really good partner for my roofing business before I sold it. But for ProLine, you are a certified partner with us. We trust what you do. We love what you do. You really do complement a lot of what our platform tries to accomplish for each company. And we do it we just align on our values. You just kind of highlighted that, the parallels between what you train and what ProLine does for people's business. And I appreciate you coming on today. And
I appreciate being on always.
Yeah, man. How do people get a hold of you? What's the next step if roofing contractors watching? What do they do?
Go to bgb-enterprises.com and you'll find resources. You can join our free group. You can book a call. I've just recently kind of rearranged the website, not necessarily redesigned. So just go to bgb-enterprises.com and you'll have every entry point to talk to me or to participate in some of our free resources as we have.
Love it. Well, thanks again, man. And we will see you hopefully earlier than next year, but we'll see you again soon.
We got it. Thanks so much. Brad.